Video blog for you guys, man. It's been going through my head a lot, and as you look behind me, you see my entire yard torn to shit. The cabana I built, the trees I planted by hand, well, those were growing too fast, and they were hitting the power lines up top, so they had to come down, but all in a mission to put a pool in. Had to put the trees in before they dug the ground, because there's no way to get the trees, which are over 2,000 pounds a piece, into their positioning unless they're put in before the hole's actually excavated. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy right now. Dirt's everywhere, debris, the dogs don't know what's going on. They're bringing the dirt in the house. Living in turmoil again, but really not living in it, just working in it, living in what it's gonna be. And through this process, I love the construction kind of metaphors and stuff, because you learn so much, I think, about life that parallels life, that the transitions of life, they get worse before they get better. I mean, one day this is going to be pretty epic, and a few months from now, but until then, it's a whole lifestyle change, upside down. But that's cool, because what I'm seeing is just piece by piece the reality of what I want it to be. We're already over budget, already, past deadline, delayed already. But such is life. There's never a smooth sail. On top of that, as we're digging this up, man, we're finding like sewage lines, power lines, water lines within the mainframe that we didn't know were there. Old root structures. That's causing a lot of delays. But the thing about it is, and also the permits and the zoning from Burbank is pretty strict on the easements and property lines and how it all works. And what I would want to have, I can't have. Because it's not allowed by city, or it's because of the way the structure is, or what I'm finding out, these adversities that I'm seeing along the way of the construction that I'm so pissed about, because the vision of what I want is now all of a sudden being erased because it's not feasible by law or by actual just physical land. But the crazy thing happens here. So once a problem with a line going through, or at the satellite, the power lines, and or just seeing that what's actually on the ground isn't what we thought underneath the ground. These problems that are coming up are starting to actually create ingenuity. This adversity is starting to create opportunity. And again, the only way that can be created that way is if we're living in where it's gonna be, meaning working in the turmoil, believing in the transformation for betterment, accepting the problems as possible solutions outside the box of the realm that we didn't really see at first on paper. And what's happening is these adversities come. One, I'm learning a hell of a lot too, which banked that too, which is nice. But then with this problem, I can't do this. Well, because I can't do it, now all of a sudden I'm gonna have to think a totally different way. And most of the time when I think a different way, what I'm starting to think about is actually something I could never even kind of foresee before. So at the end of this, man, the design of what I thought I wanted so much wasn't really what I wanted. But I have to be in it to win it. I have to see the problem as a possible solution, not as a problem. That every problem isn't a problem, but a situation that I can manipulate with hard work, ingenuity, thought process to create a better end state. And that's what I'm doing. So when I drew out what I wanted this backyard to look like for a pool, and then I got shot down, through that, give and take, cause and effect of it all, what's come out is something even more, in my mind, better. But I never saw it that way, because I just was fixated, man. I was in the forest and couldn't see the trees from the forest, It wasn't until I was shut down from here, I couldn't go here. Tried a million ways, but it just was not gonna happen that way. And then what happened, if I keep trying it, then a window opened over here, and I tried that, and all of a sudden, what's gonna come from this is so much better than I could ever think. But that is only when you're living in the moment of it, the working of it, and believing that all of this is for good reason, the wave of life, the surfing aspect, right? You can't control the wave. All you can do is surf it the best you can. And as I'm doing all this stuff, I'm learning a lot about balance. And that's what this video blog is really about. The balance of success, the balance of life. To see adversity, problems of such, as some things that complement the end goal, not something that's going to deter it or shut it down. Because we're always going to have problems. We're always going to have situations. We're always going to have things that are unforeseen. You know, our opportunity is to see them either as a negative or positive. Because these negative opportunities that have been, you know, slapping me in the face like Murphy's Law almost every day, there's 3 or 4 of them are coming up that I didn't think were going to come, are just really blessings in disguise that if I really absorb it the right way, you know, there's a pathway to a betterment of it. Kind of like depression. Depression isn't who you are, it's just where you are. And if you give it an honest look at it and really evaluate it, that depressed state is the key to unlock how to get out of it. But if we look at it, it's like, oh, I'm down, and I'm out, you know, that just spirals into a negative cancer that never heals itself. But if we can look at it and take in the problems as not really who we are, but where we are, and then continue to have that, you know, undying work ethic to improve the situation, then we're good. But in order to have that freedom, in order to have that clarity, we gotta have to have balance in our life. And balance is there's many different things to balance it by. There's a mind, there's a body, there's a soul. You know, the mind is how you think about something. The body is about the work of it, how to build it. The soul, the spirit, is your belief in it, you know? And like, I'd love to do woodworking, right? I love to build furniture and stuff. Now, that's a hobby of mine. It's a stress relief, it's peace, it's therapeutic. I call it sawdust therapy. Now, if that was a job where I had to get the products done on a certain deadline to get them to consumers, and I'm selling it and my livelihood was based on it, you know, that passion, that love of it would be hindered by deadlines and performance, and the hobby turns into work then, which in a way the work blinds us of what the love and passion really is. And when the love and passion isn't leading the train, what ensues with that is a tunnel vision approach where the perspective is shut off. That perspective is the creative ability, the ingenuity, the strength to see adversity as an opportunity. You know, if it's a deadline, you're really deep in the forest, man, and all you're seeing is the trees, and you can't see where you are in the forest of the trees, if that makes sense. So all these processes in here, there's so much to learn from them, and I'm sharing them with you. But one thing I want to share with you on this balance thing is that when we were demoing all this out, and the neighbors were hating it because the jackhammer is like 8 hours a day for 3 days, because the driveway, which we're replacing and stuff, was like 7 inches thick of concrete. You know, one of the demo guys, we grabbed all these nails because behind the grass that was here is AstroTurf because of the pitties I have, and they just tear up everything and tug of war. Real grass I try to grow, but they just rip it up. So it was a depreciating asset. So I put the AstroTurf in there. It looks really nice. Looks like, you know, real grass, and it's durable for the dogs. But these nails, you know, what are they, about, you know, 6-7 inches, were throughout the yard, keeping the grass down. He grabbed 11 of them. And he goes, huh, Greg, you seem like a smart guy. See if you can take all 10 and balance all of them while holding the other. I'm like, what? He goes, hold one nail and then balance all these on top of it and then show it to me. I'm like, huh, interesting. And I spent about an hour on it until I figured it out. And I've shown this to a few people, and you know, friends and stuff that have come over, and immediately they say, no, it can't be done. They give up. Immediately give up. And I really want to. It's more than it's a balance. Like I said, if the job is a hobby, and it's not just a hobby, but something you believe in, like Steve Jobs, Warren Buffett always went to work, but they said they never went to work because they loved what they're doing, so never worked a day in their life. That mentality, if that is your driving force in what you're doing in your career, then you're always going to have that creative edge over society. And that creative edge is the ability to look at a situation and not see it as a problem or unwinnable or a maze that can't be solved. Because if that was the mentality of society, that we always believed in status quo, well, I think we'd still be in the dark ages. Things like the Industrial Revolution never would have happened. Light never would have come. The world's still flat, I think. It's the ability to challenge what society says is impossible. And in doing that challenge, you find, even if they can't be solved, like some of these problems I have back here, I can't solve them. But what happens is a better alternative. So it's the next best thing you can do. That's better than what could have been before. But if your mentality is immediately like, it can't be done, on a simple little experiment project that the demo guy that I hired showed me, then what am I doing in the bigger picture of life? When real problems come up in financial world, or my career, or relationships, or marriage life, or all those kind of things that really are the creative juice of why we're here. That's the pool of support, the pool of love, the pool of belief that anything's possible. If we're immediately on a single task, say, oh, I can't do this, or I don't have time for it, it's beneath me, or whatever else, you're really tunnel vision. You're going down a way of which there's not much of a return. You better hope you pick the right direction, because you don't have the ability to alter that or go into any different genres. The balance, right? And this little project here I want to show you, not that project, but this little nail project, I'm going to show you how I came about it, but really talk about the lessons of it, because they run very parallel in a metaphoric way to, I think, our problems in life. The life that's non-balanced. I think that's our problems. That's what creates the depression. That's what creates soreness, sickness, and everything else. An unbalanced diet, diabetes, insulin problems, and diabetics, and there's so many problems with an unbalanced diet. In the gym, if we're unbalanced, we're lifting our strengths and not our weaknesses, or the entire body equally, then we're building posture wrong, which becomes a huge problem there too. In our relationships and our normal social life, if we're all work and no play, or all play and no work, something starts to give. I say form is everything. I'll give you a few examples through my life on how I really learned this, and the solutions that I went to find the balance. And once you have the balance, it's a much more operable machine. It's like a machine that's well oiled. You can't force it. But a machine that's oiled, it naturally does the work for itself. Again, it's not trying to force the wave. It's taking what comes and using your ability to manipulate to the best of your ability. That's life. That's the best thing it is. But if it's stressed to the point of it's got to happen for this, or this, or this, because that's where the make or break is for work, money, or whatever else. We need that check. We need that check. We've already pushed ourselves out of the creative realm to almost a desperation state where there is no more balance. And that doesn't happen overnight. That happens by repetitive actions where it's an unbalanced life to cause an outcome where it's do or fucking die. And that's where everything rides on it. And then you throw it all in, you gamble at that point, but it's a bad gamble because you don't see the whole picture. You're in a tunnel vision and your peripheral is shut off. It's a very dangerous path. One thing that I'll talk about is posture in the gym and stuff. So working out a lot, you start to have aches and pains and stuff. Well, I started to have a real bad problem in my left shoulder here. My AC joint was just kind of out of whack or something. Maybe it was just getting older or something, or just too much abuse and training and what could be. So I went to see the doc, and we did like a MRI, a CAT scan kind of thing, and this whole shoulder lit up. They did x-rays on it and stuff. So the doc told me that I had calcium buildup. That's just part of the wear and tear, like every day. Well, we're dying every day, man. We're getting older and older and older. We can't keep youth, we can't keep life. Life is not ours. It's a moment of which we get to live in, but we can't preserve it because we're mortal. We're not immortal, and that's like the terror management syndrome that freaks out a lot of people. That we try to spend all of our effort to preserve life, which is an unwinnable situation. We cannot maintain it. Life it's a guarantee in life. We're going to die, but we spend all of our days trying to preserve the inevitable in a way of which, when we're trying to live, we actually don't live. We're alive but not living because we're trying to preserve something we cannot control, as opposed to just living in the moment and getting the most out of life, which is a fulfilled life regardless of how much time you have to do it. It's a debate of quality versus quantity, and everyone will say that quantity is less than quality. 5 years of loving somebody is better than 60 years of married to a nightmare. It's that kind of mentality, the balance of it all. So I went to the doctor, and he says because of the calcium buildup I have in my AC joint. So this is my shoulder bone, right, and top of the humerus, and this is my clavicle coming over. That's your AC joint right here, right? Well, the calcium buildup somehow is rotated, and it was rubbing, man. So every time I lift my arm up, it just pinched the nerve, and I was like done. I was like, oh, I couldn't lift like 5 pounds over a certain point. At one point I get to here, but then it slowly started to depreciate, and I saw this big problem. So he goes, hey, the only way, medical doctor in the best of his field, right? Orthopedic surgeon, the only way we can fix this is surgery, where we go in there with a microscopic kind of like file and file down the calcium buildup. So therefore you have that, he goes, for some reason my gap is off, it's shorter, but the calcium buildup now is built up, so now it's rubbing. So we'll follow it off and eventually do it again. So it's a Band-Aid. It's not a permanent fix. It's a short-term fix, which bothered me too. And I go, well, how long is the recovery? He goes, like, about 2 months, man. 2 months recovery. I don't have 2 months to just, shit the bed with, I don't know where I can find 2 months to build up enough time to have that opportunity for this recovery process, and this recovery process isn't guaranteed to be a permanent fix. So the whole thing was just ass backwards to me. So I started to really evaluate my life, kind of like depression. If you're strong enough to face it, you really dive into it because the secrets are there somehow. And you look at it, and what I started finding is that my posture was unbalanced. And how I derived it is that I thought about the gym, I thought about playing sports or skydiving or any of these physical activities I do, construction. There wasn't one moment in time where that one thing happened, I was like, oh, I just hurt my shoulder. There wasn't that one moment where it caused this injury. So I was like, well, then it has to be a repetitive thing. Something I do every single day. I don't even know about it. And it finally got to the point where now it's shutting down my system of success. And it's a metaphor of like if I have an elephant, in my backyard, or I got like 10 million ants. Who wins that battle? An elephant is a lot bigger and stronger, and every step kills about 1,000 ants, let's say. But over time, those ants will destroy and kill that elephant because it's not the one thing I did that caused this. It's what I do every single day. So I started looking at that aspect in my life. What was I doing every single day that possibly is now bearing the negative fruits of bad posture? So maybe the way I drive a car, that's something I do every day. Maybe it's the way I sleep, I do that every day. Maybe it's the way, oh wait, what about when I'm editing? That's been a new aspect in my life. And how am I editing? Well, I do it for, hours and hours every week, And the way I do it is I'm sitting at a desk, I lean on the bad one right here, on my left shoulder, and with the other hand, I have my mouse. And I'm controlling the editing for hours on end. And I started to look at that process, and I noticed that the humerus ball and the clavicle ball, it was rolled forward right here, right? It's rolled in a non-balanced posture. And it started to form. Then when I started lifting and stuff, and the muscles, I started to sit here, and the muscles started to form to hold this form. So when I relaxed, I wasn't rolling back, but I was slouched forward because of this position and so many hours doing it per week and over the years. So I go, let me try something. And now the doctor's giving me no rhyme or reason that anything but surgery can fix it. So instead of sitting down, I got like a little podium, So I was standing up like this, and I was editing this way. And sure enough, within a week, my posture started coming back. The balance came back. So then all that muscle and stuff and lifting I've done on my shoulders, I couldn't lift over 5 pounds because the posture, the ants cut me out, so to speak. Now I came back, my body started to realign itself in a little bit of time, and that was 2.5 years ago. I've never had the surgery, I've never had the problem, and it really opened up my eyes to everything else I'm doing. The way I sleep, I started studying that, because all these little things we do, unknowingly, will one day add up to be the destruction of us. Drinking habits, eating habits, sleeping patterns, all these things, yeah, you can get by a day or two, or a week or something, and if you're young, a little bit longer, but eventually it'll catch up to you, and it'll shut down the ability for you to have the potential to do anything anymore because of bad habits. But it's the balance in our posture that keeps us healthy. If we lift chest every day, or we do sit-ups every day, but we don't work our lower back, or our back, for the counterbalance effect, we start to build bad posture. Same with people doing steroids. They're building the muscles up more than the tendons. The tendons have to grow incongruent with the muscles. So if you get this guy doing steroids and stuff and he's getting all his strength, he can rip the tendon right off the bone. And then he's shut down for what? And so basically, if it's not balanced, guys, then we won't have success. We can fake it till we make it for a period of time, but then it's going to shut us down. Probably at the moment when all our success and our name and career is really on the line at that point, we're going to be sidelined. We're going to be injured reserved at that time, and we're going to watch someone else's parade march by. And that's something I don't ever want to deal with, man, if I don't have to. If I'm smart enough now to put in place the right tools and the right measures, man, I got a chance to keep the drive alive, the preservation, the balance. The balance in that is just posture. How about balance in sports? And this is the mentality again, guys. So the balance in sports, when I was in high school wrestling, I had a confidence problem, man, I really did. I thought that, I was just scared. I didn't think I was as good as everyone thought and everything else. And so what I did was I went to the gym. It's probably how I started going to the gym. It was a confidence kind of problem in a way. So I figured if I was a bigger guy, if I got a jam, push come to shove, I could muscle my way out of it. And that's what I did. So I would wrestle. Let's say my natural weight was like 160. I would suck all the way down to like 140. And have to do that almost, because all water weight, almost every week, suck down 20 off just to wrestle because I'll be a bigger guy. Now, bigger guy, yes, but not as strong, not have the energy, because I'm fighting two battles, one to make weight and then to my opponent. So I was going in weaker, but my confidence, my ability, I thought like my strength was muscling it out. And I did that really successfully, 3-time state champ, and not a problem up until my junior year, man. I was doing a lateral drop, a small move, real easy, and my bone structure is so weak from sucking weight that I was just practicing with my coach. I did a lateral drop, and the impact of the fall, which I fell on him, came through the floor, through him, through me, and blew out my scapula, which is my shoulder blade behind me, into 5 different fractures that shut me down. So the next season when I went in there, the doc said, and the trainers and stuff said, you are not allowed to suck weight anymore. And I was weighing about 175, 177. There's a weight class of 171, but they wouldn't even let me drop that. They made me go up to the next weight class, which was 189, big jump. So I'm gonna be wrestling guys that are coming down from like 220. And I'm gonna be, even if I eat, a big pizza before I weigh in, I'm still underweight by 5-10 pounds, I'm like, this was a big fear of mine, and now I'm forced to face it. But was I forced to face it? The perception on how it all is. Was it a blessing or was it a curse? Am I going to be fucked this season? What's going to happen? Well, I was forced. I couldn't rely on my strength, because that's what I went to the gym for. I went to the training for. It's all about that was my strength, and I just put all my time into that. Yeah, I trained here and did the moves and everything else, but I never really tested them. It was always about this. I always tested my strength, and perfected it. Now, one day, against my ability, because of what the non-balanced effect of sucking the weight off caused to a weak bone structure. Now I was forced the next season that I had to go up in weight and face the biggest fear of my life. Fuck, man, what am I gonna do? Well, now I had to rely on the other strengths and talents I had that I've been neglecting. And what I found out is that those strengths were more powerful. It wasn't about muscling and forcing it. It was about being fluid, quickness, your technique, relying on that, seeing your opponent up, setting up your opponent, being a tactician, not a bully kind of thing. That year, I didn't get a point scored on me all year. Through the states, won the state championship, went to nationals, all the way to finals and nationals where I did lose. I lost 3-1. The only point scored on me, but no one could touch me. I was just faster than them. So I learned a lot from that process too, where I was out of balance and I thought this was right, and I just put all my eggs into one side. I was lopsided. It's like a portfolio in the stock market that's not diversified. So if the market drops and all your stuff is in tech stocks and it goes down, you have nothing to balance it out. And without that balance, you're running a huge risk, a huge gamble, and it will catch up. I've never seen it not catch up to somebody. It will catch up, whether in your health or your financial status or your career, your friendship. All these things have to be balanced in order for them to work. And once balanced, you're more operable. You have more chance of success. When we're going to the gym, it's not just about the gym, because we don't grow in the gym. We grow outside the gym with rest and nutrition. We just create a demand for our body to grow. If we understand that, then the rest and nutrition right after that, the time of that is where it completes the package, where we get 110% return of our investment for that hour in the gym. Okay, that looks good. But in the theater of a perfect body, it's a table with 4 legs. One is your lifting program. Sure, there's a lot of ways you got to keep changing up, shocking the muscles. One is like your cardio, your endurance, your aerobic conditioning. The other one is going to be your nutrition, your supplementation, the food of what you're bringing in, the way of what you're bringing in, the timing of what you're bringing in. And the last is your recovery and rest, how much sleep you're getting, active rest to inactive rest, how much time in between sets, and how much time in between workouts, how many days. All that kind of stuff creates the balance where prosperity can really blossom. But if we're forcing one, eventually you'll get some return of that investment, but it's minimal compared to if you really honestly look at your life and go to a complete balance spectrum of it all. So these are the kind of little things that I learned, and when we're doing the demo, what this guy told me. I want to share this with you because if you're forcing something, there's only so much you can do. I got 2 hands. There's no way in life I can take all 10 of these, put it on here, remove this hand, and have them stay there. There's no way. Unless I had 10 hands, or 11, because I need to hold that thing too, there's no way I can do it. So it's impossible, right? It's impossible, but there's a balance to it where that work I don't need to do, but it's being done by something else. Or just the fact that this work and this work creates a balance effect where it does the work together, where I can now do this work. It's like having a successful career, and you have different legs of financial security. You build a leg, and then you set up management and stuff to run the leg, and you manage it as you build another one, and then you manage it, and you build another one, you manage it, and then you circumvent it, and you're just managing and directing like a ship and a captain. You're not always doing the work, because if you're always doing the work, there's only so many days, so many hours in the day and so many days in the week. Therefore, your capital gains is limited to a financial ability because there's only so much time. And if you have to be present on the time to get the money, where you're then working to the time clock of life, well, you know how much time there is. So unless your rates climb, which they haven't climbed so far, you're looking at 2 different ceilings. You're capped. You can't really get to financial freedom. You have to reinvent it. You have to have more of a balance to it all. And balance to the point where all your legs of financial freedom, one doesn't override the other one. If this gets destroyed, it doesn't take out this one too. They're independent of each other, but support each other. So I started looking at these things here and go, all right, how can I get all of these guys to do the work for myself? How can I get all these nails to balance themselves? And so I sat here. And again, I showed this to the other people, and they're like, no, it can't be done. And the guy that showed the demo guy showed me, told me about it. He goes, I've never been able to do it, but I've seen someone do it once. I'm like, okay. It doesn't matter if he said it can or can't be done, because even if it can't be done, through the process of trying it, I'll already win. Because the next endeavor in life, it's impossible, maybe, it really is impossible, I'm still gonna try it. And by trying it, you start to unlock the keys and possibilities and potential of what else can be that applied either in that theater or other theaters. There's so much to learn, and you got to keep your eyes not open for the tunnel, but the perspective, everything, and bring it all in and see everything, like the construction here, as an opportunity to learn something for yourself. Not just in the gym. It can't all be all these fuckers out there all about these young hard chargers, steroids and everything else, putting all this in the whole lives about lifting, neglecting the girlfriend, neglecting life itself, and it's all about this. And then they get in a car accident one day and they can't work out anymore. Their life is so depressed because they put all their eggs in one basket that just blew up. And now they're forced with nothing left. And the thing is, if they balanced it, the lifting program would be even stronger. Because, you can't live in the arena all day long. I do a lot of work, and I'm always behind the clock, and I'm always trying to push it and burn the midnight oil, right? Well, there's nights I can, I'll work from let's say 6 to midnight, right? 6 hours of work. But the project's gonna take a little longer. So I'll stay up all night long until 6, 8 in the morning. So it's 12, 14 hours straight work. Well, there's a point of diminishing returns. So I hit midnight and stuff. If I were to go to bed, wake up at 6, I could probably finish the remaining amount of work within 4 hours. But me staying up all night, I slowly have a depreciating asset of creative ability to job performance, and what happens is my job starts to diminish. So 8 hours, I'm still not done, but the next day now I'm dead beat and dead tired. I'm not getting any work done, so I'm absorbing all the responsibilities of the next day, which I can't get done because I'm tired. I didn't get this job done, so there's a balance. You can't live in the arena. You gotta come out of the arena, and then when you go back in, you're fully charged, like your phone. You charge it at nighttime. So when you wake up in the morning, it's ready to go the whole day. If you live in the arena too much, you live in the gym too much, you lose the creative edge of why you're there, the purpose of you, the passion and the love that creates the imbalance of life. You know, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. But a lot of times, man, you know, there's deadlines and I gotta push through it and push through it. Those deadlines exist because I failed to do the work balancedly before. That is not a product I had to, you know, that's not a situation that was passed on to me, I inherited. I created that problem, and that's power to know that you created. Yeah, there's a deadline tomorrow, you gotta get done, and you gotta pull an all-nighter. Well, that probably was a deadline that you knew about a little bit longer, and you just neglected and procrastinated until it had to be done, you know? So it's really about being honest with yourself, and when you're honest with yourself, man, then you start to learn, like depression, you're honest about why that is. You realize that it's not you really, you're not like totally 180, you gotta switch it up. Just a few little things, switch it up. And wow, look how everything starts to go. A golf swing, if I grab the club of a golf swing and I squeeze it really hard and try to swing it, I can't generate enough club head speed or as much club head speed if I just loosened up the grip a little bit. Loosen up the grip, I can swing it better, the club's faster velocity, it's more fluid, more natural, not forced, better results. But if I try to muscle and force it, you know, more times than not, one, the end state is not going to be to the measures of what you believe in, but two, the results aren't something that that you can continue to do because you're burning yourself out. And you start to lose that love, that passion, why you're doing it. And when you lose that and that fire goes out, then that hobby, that something that you enjoy to do becomes work. And then the day's running you, you're not running the day. So on this little guy, you know, I looked at it and this is what I came up with, man. They gotta balance each other. So hopefully you can see this. I took one nail, I put it down, and I started to use all the elements, everything I had here. I had a pointy end, I had a head of the nail. How can I do this? How can I interlock these guys in a way where they can hold themselves? And so I started playing with things and trying to see, you know, if I hold one, it might be a balance that way. I can go like this, I'm a triangular effect, and this is what I found like this. Look, I can hold it that way. You know, I'm holding two, but really holding three. And I started to work on that and build that and try it. And I failed. I kept trying, and each failure I learned a little more, and within the hour I figured it out. So this is how I did it. I just cross-sected them. So you got one that's going to balance on. So I put one down. I'm going to have one on top. Before I had the one on top, I'm going to put all these guys below them. So I'm going to put this 10 of them. So put 4, and just balance it out. So whatever's on the right's on the left. Same with like symmetry of the body, guys. Bodybuilders and stuff. You know, you can't have a big chest and, you know, no shoulders. You know, you gotta give the love and build where the symmetry of the right side and the left side are symmetric to each other. So once I have these like this right here, where they're balanced, where there's one to the right, one to the left, and then on the horizontal line there's 2 and 2 sets. Then I just put one on top right here like this, and I kind of shimmy them together, get those heads to kind of lock in there a little bit, and then I kind of like lift it up, man. And then look what happens. It balances itself almost, you know? And I'm sitting here, I'm like, huh, look at that, man. How about that? And then I grab this guy, put him right underneath in the middle, balance him out, and bam, that's how I hold, balance 10 nails on one nail. And it's not even causing me any work. It's simple. But for me to look at the same problem here and be like, oh, it can't be done, don't think, yeah, that hour spent kind of coming up with that, don't think that's not going to multiply the next struggle I have in life. Because society and everyone else said, my friends that came over and looked at it, they're like, fuck, can't be done, I quit, I'm not even gonna try it, zero willpower and stuff. Don't think that I'm gonna look at this and be like, you know what, I didn't know how to do it, but I found a way to do it. I'm gonna apply those same lessons to the next thing. But better yet, the belief that balance does exist, the belief is going to push me into the event. I'm not going to sit as a spectator. I'm going to be a player of life, not a spectator. And if I fail, I'm going to fail trying. I'm not going to fail before I start. And there's a lot of lessons there, guys. So I really want to challenge you guys on the balance of your own life. Yeah, we can break it down stupid simple to just the gym, and we understand the balance of that with the right nutrition, the right time of nutrition, the right workouts, changing it up, enough rest in between your workouts so that you get all that recovery, because we don't grow in the gym again. That's a demand created, and we feed the demand, allow rest and recovery for our body to build back. We can't just force it into submission. It's actually, if you go too hard in the gym without recovery and rest, you actually can get weaker. Isn't that fucked up? You're doing all this work and for what? A diminished return. If I'm gonna put all that work in, I want 110% return to that work. Not 40, not 80, 100 and more. So you become a student of the game. You start to understand it, why you're doing it. You start to understand the balance of life that this little test here taught me, but the balance of your own life. That you're either living your fears or living your dreams, and which one are you putting the most effort into? You can sit there and put all your effort and say, I hope this doesn't happen, I hope this doesn't happen, or you can create the destiny of your future. We don't know the future. We don't really know it, but we can put the work in to create the opportunities of the future. And so, I mean, everything in life, if you look around, so it's not just a gym balance, man, but then your relationship balance. And it's also about communication balance. If you're in a relationship and you're really busy working, you're traveling, or whatever it may be, the communication. To have that element, to understand that they need some time and you need some time, and that's good, and it's great. Like I say, you can't always be in the arena. You can't always be with the girl, with whoever, for so much time. You got to have that break, and that break, the distance, helps to grow the heart fonder and wants to come back. It's the same mentality, but it's a balance, a give and take. Your nutrition's the same way. You can't just eat one thing all the time. Cancer is nothing more than a repetitive action. If I were to take something and put it on my skin every single day, or just tap it every single day for a period, probably cancer will grow there. Cancer is nothing more than an irritation to the body. So if you do something out of balance for a long time, irritation forms. Before that cancer would form, probably like your posture forms wrong or something else happens. But these are all telltale signs, not problems, just telltale situations for us to improve the balance of our life. Don't look at it like, oh man, it sucks, man. I'm fucking injured now. I can't work out. I got this shoulder problem. No, man. Look at it deeper. Why do I have that problem? And how do I keep it from coming again? Really, really dissect it. When you do that, that's called problem solving. And if you can learn that, just like this is learning that anything in the future isn't a problem, but a situation you can manipulate to your intellectual, physical ability to make it the best. And even if you do fail the journey, you learn from the trying and being a spectator, being a participant, not a spectator. So anyway, guys, hope you like this, man. I really enjoyed this. Oh, here's another little party trick if you want. So you got a bottle of wine, right? So you push the cork down. It's hard to get it in there. So push the cork so it goes all the way in there. Get it in there. So the cork is in there. It's in the bottle now. You can hear it. It's in there. Right? So get the cork out, right? Get the cork out. Yeah, I can crack the bottle and get it out, but that's not mission success. There's many ways to get it out probably, but we got to preserve the bottle too, let's say. So how do we get it out preserving the bottle, Like, there's many roads that lead to Rome, but one's most effective for you to get there. There's many ways to your goal. Many roads to get to your goal, by the way, many. One's the best for you, though. So stop following everyone else's path. Learn from them. Use what's good and get rid of the bad. Use what's good here, get rid of the bad. Find out what works for you, that creates the balance of what you want to do, that gets you up in the morning, that going to the gym and transforming to get that goal isn't work, but love, man, because you enjoy what you get out of it. You enjoy your work as you're a student of the game actually turn into fruition. You can see the results of your hard work, all those things. So you don't follow trends, you set them, you learn from others, and then you manipulate to the best of your ability. You don't listen to society's status quo, you challenge it always. That you can balance 10 on 1, and you create this, invincibility in the mind. Then with the body following to action based on what you really believe and it's passion, you can't lose, man. You can't lose. You'll forever be known. Your legacy will live forever, and this life might die tomorrow. So you might as well get started now. So these footprints of your existence actually do last for others to use, after you're dead and gone, to be the person they want to be and achieve their goals and reach their true potential. So how do we get this thing out? Well, we take a napkin, something that get in there, right? The napkin, it's stitched all the way around here. We take the edge of this napkin, right? The part that's stitched, it's kind of like a little lip right there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna turn this thing over and we're gonna try to sit the cork right in there. That's all we're gonna do. Once we have it in there, we're gonna pull the fucker out. It's that easy. Well, maybe, we'll see. So I just push this napkin guy in there and try to keep that little basket, that little like shovel, so to speak, open. And then I just kind of roll the cork, if I can, into that fucking basket and just pull it out, man. So it's not about, it's not about working harder, but working smarter, understand it. This is the same philosophy. Yeah, I could break the bottle and beat the shit out of it and everything else, or I can be a little bit smarter, be a student of the game, be a master of my own destiny here. And maybe what happens is like, I get greater results with less effort, but because it's a balance. It's mind and body and spirituality. The belief, the will, the hard due diligence and work ethic, and then knowing why we're going this path as opposed to this path. So once I got the thing hooked there, I kind of just bring the guy back here, and then I pull the cork out. It fell over there. I'll grab it real fast. Fuck that go. There it is. So there's a cork, man. So all these little things, man, it's like, I say confidence is perishable, use it or lose it. And the body's perishable, use it or lose it. You've got to test it in order to grow it. So yeah, we go to the gym and we hit failure because failure is a friend. Failure helps us to grow. We welcome failure. Fear and failure, I think, are the real assets, artillery to really transform and grow if we're honest enough to look at them as assets and not rejection or negativity. So the same way with this is that, working smarter, not harder, using all of our tools, to really build something. Not being fixated on what everyone else does, but the balance, seeing that there's many different ways to do it. And these little things, when I say, your confidence is perishable, it is. You have to test it. Going up to that good-looking girl that you think's way out of your league and saying hello, take some balls, man. But you're challenging yourself. You're building your confidence. Even if she says no, who cares? Everyone's failed. Every hero in the world, role model, failed. Society doesn't remember the failures. They just remember if you succeed. Remember if you showed up. Remember if you gave a shit. Make sure you're one of those people that does show up, not sits there as a critic and points their fucking finger at everyone else's misfortunes or missed opportunities when they haven't even tried it themselves. Don't be an expert on something you've never tried. That's called a fucking critic. But in order to grow your confidence, you do little tests like this, different little things. You see every little small innuendo, your friends' stories or despair and stuff. You talk to them, you open up, you lend yourself to them because you learn something from it too. And you challenge your confidence. You don't stay around the same circle of loser friends. You try to find a more elevated friend, someone that brings the best out of you, that challenges you, that keep growing it and growing it and growing it, man. That's what keeps you young. That's what keeps you excited. That's what keeps you getting up in the morning for a purpose. So it's all about the balance, guys. I hope you enjoyed this, man. I'll be showing you the pool later, man. But we're getting there. We're getting there, and it's exciting, man. Yeah, there's a fucking turmoil and dust and debris and shit's all over the place, and it's costing me more than I wanted to, and we're, already over budget and, we're not on schedule right now. But that's okay, man. It's okay. I can't control that always. All I can do is just learn from it and try not to repeat things if I can, and then take the worst and make it the best. So make yours the best too, man. These are all fun things. It's not work, man. It's love. These are all fun adventures, and really, don't be scared to fail, and know wherever you are right now is not who you are. It's just where you are, And if you fall, man, fall forward. Don't fall on your ass. When they say it can't be done, tell them you haven't tried yet. Can't be done by someone else. But I can't say that because I haven't tried it. Then you go try. Thanks for watching.